Thanks for coming back. I appreciate you joining me. What we're going to do today is set up probably not today, probably a couple of days. It's going to be tricky. Going to set up a holding tank for our kitchen sink. The shower's got one already, and it was just pretty much off the shelf at Bunnings for about $15. 20 litres of a plastic container that literally screwed straight up underneath of the shower drain. That was easy. This one's going to be really hard. I've got a funny shape. Just going to have a look at it. The clear tube is the outlet pipe coming from the sink. The conduit's electrical. That shouldn't be in our way too much. But that's the space there. It's kind of a rectangle with an arc right there. Tricky but not impossible. I suppose the only variable is going to be the depth and what we make it out of. Better measure it up. Part of what I like about working on vans is that everything's really easily at hand and there's so much space. Even though I've got this jacked up 120 mil or so. Yeah, anyway, you'll see what I mean. Oh, I was being sarcastic. Let me just explain my reasoning. Got this conduit here, which is sticking right out too far. Drill a hole right in the corner there. Just trim this out. Move the conduit right over here, out of the way. That way I'm gaining probably an extra 70 mil or so. Times 250 deep, for example, is going to add litres to my storage. So I'm just going to create as much space as I can. Be it awkward or not, but once it's done, it's done. Also should point out that this is a reasonably structural sort of a member, so before you go drilling holes and things, just be sure in your own mind that you're not creating problems for the future. I've just kept this penetration as small as I can for obvious reasons. It's got holes in it already, so I'm sure it can support holes, but I'll just keep this absolutely minimized. Don't go cutting big holes if you're not sure that there's not going to be a problem with it structurally down the line. Dang girl! In sailing boating terms, this is called chafing. If this was to rub like that, which it's wood, chafing. So we want to I don't know what's called in van life, who would know, don't really care, but I'm going to have to fix that somehow, and also put maybe like a silicone or a Sikaflex or something like that, just to keep it rigid, and that way it doesn't move around, and that way it won't cut through, because it's like a knife really. Won't cut through the conduit, and then it won't cut through my wires, because that would be a problem. I'm pretty sure you'd understand why. Alright. Seeming as I wanted the Sikaflex to stick and all, I just decided to give it a quick clean up with some acetone.
It's like a family tree, part of you and part of me. And if we should separate, go your own way, I won't wait.
Dimensions are about 290 wide, about 370 long, 120 at the where the drain is. The drain's going to be approximately here on the outside, and I'm going to put an elbow into it. There is this curve, but for this purpose I'm just going to consider this to be a triangle. We're not going to count this because it's too hard right off the bat. Anyway, we got 0.29 by 0.37 equals 0.1073, give or take, times 0.25, that's the depth of it, 250 mil, equals 0.0268. We're going to divide that by 2 because it's a triangle, equals 0.0134, all approximations, and then we're going to times it by 1,000 because we're turning milliliters into litres, equals 13.4 litres, and it's going to be a little bit more because of this area here. You know, we might get 15 or 16 litres out of it, and to be honest with you, I'm happy with that. That's all I ever thought we'd get. Cut that out, cut it out, and if that fits, we'll turn that into plywood, and if it doesn't fit, we can easily trim it still. Fits really well, happy with that. Just need to allow for the 6mm ply that's going to be the external walls of this thing. Once again, a big portion of this build was done using the batteries, the solar and the inverter, and today is absolutely no different.
It's like a family tree, part of you and part of me. And if we should separate, go your own way, I won't wait.
Bring the funk back.
All that remains now is just to cut the 4 remaining walls, and obviously me cutting plywood makes for a fantastic television, but we might just speed through this a bit. I found that a little bit of talcum powder makes a massive difference to putting the gloves on. Turns it from liquid epoxy into thickened epoxy, which is an amazing loop of wood. And I'm wearing a mask because you don't want this stuff in your nose. It's bad. If you take your precautions, it's nothing to worry about. Just keep adding it until you get the consistency that you want. Nice and thick. I went to a kitchen supply store and bought just a whole bunch of piping bags. that you'd normally be icing with. Works really well. If you want to make life easy for yourself, just put the piping bag inside of the plastic container. It just keeps everything sort of upright and stops it from just leaking everywhere. I can already feel this thing starting to generate some heat. That's how it cures, it just gets hotter and hotter. Alright, that's it. It's great stuff to work with. You may also have noticed that I'm doing this on a sheet of really thick plastic. The epoxy just won't stick to it. You try doing that with on the timber and you're in big trouble. Alright, so here we go. That first bit didn't go as well as I had expected, so I turned it off because I was swearing. Alright, okay, so I should have pre-nailed that. Right. I don't know if you can see, but that's actually melting the plastic. Good God. Just got the base glued on for now anyway. Everything went wrong that could have gone wrong. That was just an absolute cluster. So I turned it off because I didn't want you to hear me swearing, because that's what I was doing. But tomorrow, after that's all glued, dried, we'll come back and we'll put we'll put that in. Actually, we'll get ready for that to go in. Because I need to line it all at first and waterproof it inside before we put the lid on. Obviously, might even put a little hatch opening in there so that at some point in time I could take that off and open up the hatch and just give it a clean out if that's what I needed to do. Yeah, I'm not sure. We'll see how we go. As much as I try and plan these things, it's really hard sometimes just to have the full concept in your mind. Well, I find it hard anyway. So what I've done is I started on it. I cut a bit out. This is the top. That's going to be the bottom. I need the bottom to be completely and utterly waterproof. Obviously, the top, it's important, but it's not quite as critical. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to bevel. I'm going to bevel out with my router here, and I'm just going to have a piece which is pretty much that. but with the opposite bevel, and it's just going to sit in there so I can seal it. Right here, right now, though, I'm going to seal this bit into the bottom. I'm going to glue it and screw it, and then leave it for a day. You know.
Bring the funk back.
That's all we can do for now, eh? So we're just going to let that cure. Put the tape on there so that it just doesn't spill through, because honestly the neater it is on the outside just means less sanding. Makes our job a bit easier. So it's all, we've got a bead, some neater than others, but we've got a bead of epoxy all the way around there, all the joints. Tomorrow we're going to hit it with fiberglass and some just a really liquid epoxy. Do some fiberglassing of the edges, make it a bit stronger, and then I'm going to make up this part, which is just going to sink into there. There's also going to have to be, this is the top, there's going to have to be the inlet coming in through there, so that bit of clear plastic pipe going to have an elbow on it and come in there. There's also going to have to be, other end, down the bottom, there's going to have to be an outlet, maybe literally on the bottom, an outlet with a valve on it so that we can drain it out or hook up a silage pipe. But for today, that's it. We're done. Going to have a cup of coffee. What I should have clarified is that the lid, while it's going to sit in there, obviously, and close it off. I'm not just going to screw it in there or glue it in there. I'm going to do for that, but I'm also going to route all the way around here, all the way around, and then the lid piece is going to be oversized, and it's going to be counter routed, if there's such a word, counter routed, and it's going to basically sit in there, whether it's flush or whether it's not the end of the world either way. But I'll be able to put a bit of rubber around there if I want to, screw it down and seal it, so that at some point in time I can take the lid off, have a look in there if I ever need to do any maintenance, heaven forbid. But you never know. Seems like the sensible thing to do, so that's what we're going to do. And next comes the lid.
Bring the funk back.
I've tested it. I've made sure that it fits underneath the chassis into its little slot, which it does. Fits really well, actually, better than I sort of hoped for. It's probably a little bit deeper than I thought. It sticks down. It's visible a fair bit, probably 50 to 60 mil, but you know what? Compromise, hey, somewhere between capacity and visibility. I want it to at least be useful. So what we're going to do now is put a bit of fiberglass on it, and then we're going to just strengthen it on the outside predominantly. So seal it on the inside with fiberglass, so that she's watertight, and then put some fiberglass on the outside. So it's because it's underneath the van. If it gets any stones or chips hit it, we don't want holes in it. For those of you paying attention, well done. I ran out of West System epoxy, and now I'm just using polyester resin, which is fine, you know, kind of interchangeable. They don't really play well necessarily together. You're not going to get the same bond as using the one product, but I'm going to use this just for the strengthening, so I'm okay with that. Only problem is it stinks. The West System, I literally can't even smell it. But this stuff is just, it's kind of vile. Alright, let's get on with it. 100 ml on a hot day, use 40 drops. We're doing 200 ml, so we're doing 80 drops. How much time have you got? Oh my good lord. 1, 2. Oh yeah, that's a big, nice big stick. Yeah. Get it from, I don't know if you know Whitworth Boat Supplies. They're open at the moment. This stage is called wetting out, as far as I'm aware anyway. You call it whatever you want. It's not ideal to stick it to something that's dry. Alright, that's just wet now. It all becomes reasonably simple. Tight. I don't have a lot of room to wet this out, so I'll just do it. We'll do it in situ. Yeah. You see where it was dry?
Bring the funk back.
Now we're talking. Please don't be disheartened by the guy that loves to spray paint everything. That's just my thing, and I've got the equipment for it. We could just as easily use an aerosol can or roll on some primer product. It really makes no difference to the end result of the product. That's just how I like to do it.
Bring the funk back.
This is what I'm going to use to just protect the outer coating, outer shell, whatever, of from stones and chips and that sort of stuff. Septone stone shield, but it also says to sand it and use wax remover. Sanding, not really bothered about a nice result. Obviously you can still see the fiberglass and that's fine. It's not really, it's not going to affect anything. You're never going to see it. And the more I sand it, the more it's going to take off the epoxy. It also says to use a wax and oil remover as well, but I've literally not touched it with hands or anything. So as far as I'm concerned, it's just one of those decisions that I've got to make, and I'm happy with it. I shall proceed. Whew, she goes on thick. It says many light coats, and at $30 a can, I'll try and get it all out of one can. It's an interesting product. It goes on less of a fan, more of just a ball, a round circle of spray, which, as you can see, they're really hard to get a nice even coverage, but I suppose that's not what we're after. We're just after thick, tough, and in this particular case I'll have to do, and actually really happy with that. I'll flip it over in a second, just do the underside, which is going to be the top of it, and then we're almost there. We're ready to start installing it. For those of you who didn't know that you could cut aluminium with a circular saw with just a wood bit, welcome to the light. It is fantastic, absolute game changer. Use it heats for my roof rack, which we'll cover at a later date. I have a tendency to hang on to stuff, and I had some neoprene left over, so I'm just going to stick that on so we don't get any rubbing. Hot glue gun, neoprene. Even though I scuffed up the aluminium, the hot glue gun really didn't want to stick that well to the aluminium. I'm probably going to make up some little neoprene socks to slide over them. That's bracket number 1, maybe another 2. See how we go. I really would have liked to have been able to put the van on a mechanic's hoist, lift it up and give you a good view of the holding tank in place, but not really an option. So that's it. We're just going to take a bit of a stroll back, and you'll say, well, what are we looking at? And to me, that's kind of the whole point. Is I thought it was going to protrude a bit, but I mean, if you see this van parked or driving down the street, you don't see the holding tank, and that's the good thing. So we've gone from a bucket to a holding tank. Cost about $60, using stuff that I had. and buying a little bit of stuff. Doesn't have to be expensive. Give it a try. It's just step by step.